So recently I got a bunch of beat'em ups that I never played before for one reason or another, and while some of them are, well, pretty bad, others are somewhat competent and on a sale it can grant you some fun or even some ideas if you are a developer. Today we will be taking a look at a game that started as a Diablo clone and lately become a beat'em up, but before I forget, hi, I am Savino, and this is The Flying Kid. Sacred Citadel, developed by the German studio Deep Silver, was released in 2013, 10 years ago for Steam, PS3 and Xbox 360 without much fanfare. The game is based on a somewhat failed series called Sacred, which tried to mimic Diablo's gameplay and success. Here you have 4 areas to explore with 6 missions each. There is a 5th area that you can purchase as a DLC, but we will talk about it later. These missions are your typical beat'em up affair. You walk to the right and beat every briefing and non-briefing thing in your path until you reach the end. And to do that, you will be armed with a bunch of moves that will use most of your controller. Here you have a light attack, a heavy attack, your jump, block, special and a run button. 2 things that you must be aware of is that the game can only be played with the analog stick. Your D-pad is used to consume the 3 different types of potions, being health, strength and one that refills your special bar. The other thing you must know is that you can dodge in this game, and you will need it a lot, but the dodge is mapped to the right analog stick. I will be honest and say that at first I didn't like it too much, especially because the shoulder buttons have no use, so the dodge could very well be in these buttons, but after a few moments I was used to it. Actually, I was so used to it that I started to trying dodging with the analog while playing another game. Yeah, smart, I know. The combat here is pretty solid, not the best you'll see in your life, but you can combine your light attack and heavy attacks to create some interesting combo, including some air attacks that are pretty fun. You don't have a lot of freedom when creating your combos, the game lacks some crucial cancels that could have helped the combat's flow, but you will find some variation here and there, especially between characters. Sacred has 4 different characters, a warrior, a mage, a hunter and a shaman. At least I think it is. You see, the game doesn't let you change your language, it is bound to your OS language, and since my Windows is in Portuguese, the game is all in Portuguese. I usually rather have the footage in English so everyone can read what's on the screen, but yeah. Anyways, the 4 characters play completely different from each other. While the commands are basically the same for each one of them, the way they attack and what you can do with the attacks is pretty interesting and diverse. I still haven't played extensively with them all, but I probably will with time. As I said, Sacred was born from an action RPG with tons of loots and, at least superficially, some of those traits came to this beat'em up. I said superficially because while there are RPG elements that will affect the way you play, the loot part of the game is just cosmetic. Here you have 4 stats to upgrade: your strength, health, critical hit chance, and your special. Nothing that you haven't seen before. When you level up, you get 2 points to spend on any of these traits. You will also find weapons and armor that some enemies can drop, or you can buy them in the towns that each area has, and there are a ton of them, but they simply don't matter in the game. You have fire swords, ice maces, axes, you name it, but all you want in them are the numbers. It really doesn't matter the type of effect your weapon has, and it matters even less the type of weapon you are using. A mace and a sword can have the same power, reach and speed when attacking. This was a huge waste of potential. I mean, if you have 2 weapons with the same value, you can pick one of them with the effect you like the most, but other than that, there's nothing to it. Armors are the same, but here at least you can decide if you want an armor that gives you more resistance to elemental attacks or more resistance to normal attacks. It is the only item in the game that you have to think about when changing, but not that much. There are also crystals that you can find in the levels or buy in the cities. Oh yeah, let me talk about the cities first. So in every one of the 4 regions there is a small town that you can visit anytime. Here you can buy potions, new weapons and armor, the crystals I was talking about, and even make some bets to get more money on each stage. These bets are a good way to make extra money and they come in 3 flavors: no death, time attack and high score runs. You pick one, pay a little bit of gold for it and go to the level the guy sent you. A small piece of advice: the game isn't hard, so pick the no death run before you start a new level. You will make a lot of money this way. So, the crystals. Yeah, there are 4 types of crystals in the game that you can buy or find, and they will improve each one of your stats for a few minutes. They can boost from 4 to 8 points, and you can equip them anytime you want. They are a great help before bosses, especially near the end of the game where you need a small boost for some of the final battles. Sacred Citadel has, as I said, a small piece of DLC that adds a new area to the game. Unfortunately, this is all you will get with this DLC. Just 6 more levels and a bit of story. There are no weapons or skills, not even a new town. The DLC is cheap, so if you become a big fan of the game, I have no reason to say to you to avoid it. I mean, you won't be missing much if you don't buy it, but it is there. Oh yeah, the game has local multiplayer for up to 3 people and online too, but yeah, you won't be finding any rune available. Overall, Sacred Citadel impressed me. The game is far from great and can get a bit repetitive if you go all in, but if you take it slow, play a couple of levels here, a couple of levels there, you can have a lot of fun with it. The game clearly took inspiration from games like Dungeons & Dragons and Dragon Scroll, and while it's nowhere near as good as those games, I think it is an okay game. I even believe this game is worthy of a sequel with the right improvements, but I don't think Deep Silver is interested. For $10, and it is important to note here that the game is often on sale for $5 or less, I think it is a good deal. The game has a lot of content, and while it won't blow your mind, it will grant you a few hours of harmless fun. And you can always give your pal here a shout if you want to play some multiplayer. And that's it for the review, folks. I will be back next week with another game that I bought. And what do you think? Is Friday a good day for these videos? Saturday maybe? Sunday? Tell me in the comments what you think. Other than that, I hope you all have an awesome day. And remember, keep beating up.